My name is Adian Basalay. Sling Blade, the 1996 Academy Award winner for Best Screenplay, is the powerful story of Carl Childers, a retarded man who has recently been released from a mental institution where he's been incarcerated for the last 25 years. In this scene, Carl is being interviewed by a high school reporter, and he relates events surrounding his mother's death and the murder of her lover with a sling blade. Well, I reckon what y'all want to know is what I'm doing in here. I reckon the reason I'm in here is because I killed somebody. But I reckon what y'all want to know is how come me to kill somebody. I reckon I'll start from the front and tell you. I lived most of my life out behind my mother and father's house in a little old shed that my daddy built for me. They didn't too much want me up there at the house with the rest of them. I most just sat out around the shed all day looking at the ground. It didn't have no floor, but I had me a hole dug out to lay down in. And a quilt or two that I put down in there. Well, my daddy, he was a hard-working man most of his life. Not that I can say the same for myself. I most just sat out around in the shed all the time, tinkered with a lawnmower or two, and went to school off and on from time to time. But the children there made quite a bit of sport of me. Made quite a bit of fun of me. Sometimes some of them roughed me up, so I most just stayed out at the shed. Well, my daddy, he worked down at the planer mill there, down at the sawmill for an old man named Dixon. Old man Dixon was a very cruel fella. He didn't treat his employees very well. He didn't treat my daddy very well either. Didn't pay him much a wage. But I reckon he got on all right. One or another of them would come on out pretty regular and fed me, usually my mother. At least I know he made enough for me to have mustard and biscuits 3 or 4 times a week. Now, old man Dixon, he had a son named Jesse Dixon. Jesse was really more cruel than his father. He made quite a bit of sport of me, taking advantage of the little girls in the neighborhood quite a bit. He used to tell me my mother was a very pretty woman. Well, I reckon you're wanting me to get on and tell you what happened, so I guess I will. I was sitting out at the porch one evening, not doing too much, just kindly staring at the wall and minding my own business, waiting for my mother to come out and give me my Bible lesson. And I heard a commotion up there at the house. So I runned up to the kitchen window to see what was going on. And I looked in and I seen my mother laying there on the floor, no clothes on. And, well, I seen Jesse Dixon laying on top of her, having his way with her. And I just seen red. I picked up the Kaiser blade. Some people calls it a sling blade, but I calls it a Kaiser blade. It's just a long handle like an axe handle with a blade on one end of it, shaped kind of like a banana, sharp on one edge and dull on the other. It's what the highway boys use to cut down weeds and whatnot. I went in the kitchen there and hit Jesse Dixon upside the head with it. knocked him clean off my mother. Well, I reckon that didn't quite satisfy me. So I hit him again, in the neck with the sharp edge, and plumb near cut his head clean off. Killed him. And my mother, she jumped up from there and started shouting, "What'd you kill Jesse for? What'd you kill Jesse for?" Well, come to find out, my mother didn't too much mind what Jesse Dixon was doing to her. And I reckon that made me madder than Jesse Dixon had made me. So I picked up the Kaiser blade. Some people calls it a sling blade, but I calls it a Kaiser blade. And I hit my mother upside the head with it and killed her. Some folks has asked me if I had to do it again, would I do the same thing? I don't know, but I reckon I would. Anyhow, they seen fit to put me in here for a long time. I've learned to read some. It took me 4 years to learn how to read the Bible. I reckon I understood a great deal of it. It's not what I expected in a lot of places. Slept in a bed for a great long while now. It's a good bed. They seem fit to put me out now. They tell me they're releasing me today. Anyhow, I reckon that's all you need to know. I'm not sure if that's enough for your newspaper or not. If you need any more details, I can tell them to you.
Are you ever going to kill anyone again, Carl?
Well, I don't reckon I've got no reason to kill nobody.